me who are feeling very scared, very worried and very uncertain about what this night will bring, and frankly very depressed about what we'll hear tomorrow. It's not going to be good news, and we need to steel ourselves to understand that. So it's about supporting each other. Water is an issue across the city. We've had to shut down all of the main reservoirs in Christchurch. The only area that we're currently able to reticulate water to is in the northwest of the city, and the pressure in that zone, they're fed from their own wells, is low. It's not normal pressure. So that means effectively right across the city tonight, put your pots and pans out, there's a bit of rain out there, catch a little bit of that water, conserve what you've got. Remember, your hot water cylinder, if you haven't already drained it, is a source of water that's stored. Don't waste it. I'm afraid we can't allow you to use your loos, and we know that for some people that's going to be difficult, so you're going to have to make a call around that. But our pumping stations are down. All but 5 of our pumping stations have been destroyed. This is a worse outcome in terms of that infrastructure than it was on September the 4th. This also means that we have had to open up the emergency valves and use the rivers in the city as emergency wastewater zones. So for obvious reasons you need to stay well away from that. So do not shower, do not take a bath, and do not flush your loo. Tomorrow we're all going to smell a little bit, but we have to understand that if we don't take these steps, what little supplies we have left and we need for emergency services could be dissipated. So please think about that and help us where you can. Dig a hole in the backyard if that's what it actually takes, and save your water for drinking. But remember, if you still had water flowing after that earthquake, you might need to boil it. Now that's going to be a problem if you don't have electricity. What we understand at this stage, and I've had a discussion with the chief executive of the lines company in Christchurch, is that they are working very hard and they hope to get a significant amount of power restored overnight, but we're still probably looking at less than 50% of those who currently don't have power receiving it. So that's going to be a big issue, and of course radio at this time is very important. People are listening on transistors in our city, so our message is primarily going through all of you for our citizens, and it's a very important part of the process. So we have food coming in, we have additional support teams from the Urban Search and Rescue that have already landed in the city. We should have around 200 highly skilled people on the ground working their way through the city overnight, working their way to find our friends and our relatives and our family members who are trapped in buildings. We are looking out there on the basis that all of our people are okay, and we're going to get them out in the next few days. But we have to be realistic, and we know already, as the Prime Minister announced earlier on, is somewhere in the area of around 65 deaths at this stage. So this is unprecedented for our city, and these are hard times, and you've got to try to stay as calm as you can. There's nothing else that you can do right now other than look after yourselves and look after your neighbours. The government has been here promising and delivering a lot of help. You would have heard the heavy aircraft flying over, coming into land at our airport in Harewood. That will continue overnight. It will continue through tomorrow. We've had a lot of offers of help. It's important that help doesn't just arrive out of the blue, but it is coordinated through our civil defence organisations. We will be contacting those fellow organisations in New Zealand and overseas if we need additional help, and we will call, but we need to do that in a measured way. And tonight, as I said, our focus is on rescue. Recovery is something we'll start thinking about once we've completed this first crucial part.
On that recovery effort, obviously we've been hearing a lot of reports that people are alive in those buildings.
They are.
Have the rescuers been able to talk to them? Has there been anything coming from those buildings?
I spoke to a person earlier on who came out of the building, the CTV building, and he was in really bad nick, but he was grateful just to be alive, and he told me that he had heard other people in there crying out for help. I've heard unofficial reports of some phone calls coming through. It's another reason not to overload the phone system. Roadways and even phone systems, these are our lifelines in the city right now, and we are all in this together, and so you have to be as responsible as the next person.
How many different major rescue operations do you think are going on? I know there'll be lots of
Yeah,
How
yeah.
many big ones?
Well, to the best of my knowledge, there are around about half a dozen major rescue drives going on at the moment. But one of the things that we are also doing is, as we get a fix and we get teams in place on one of the major sites, we've got other teams coming in, and we're also moving out into the city so that we can check buildings where we may not have had a report of people being trapped, but we have a duty to make sure that those buildings, to the best of our knowledge, are not occupied in their broken state by people who are needing our support. So we'll be overnight visiting dozens and dozens of different sites, and we're going to be asking people, as I said, to not come into the central city area. We've put a cordon around the city. We've got at this moment a significant number of military personnel coming in. They will be guided by our police, and we're shutting down the city from the 4 avenues in. Now, clearly there are people living in this area in a number of places, and we're saying please stay put where you are overnight and listen for further instructions from us. It is very likely that the centre of our city will be shut down for a significant amount of time. It is not safe for people to come into it, other than the people who have the right skill sets and who can analyse the state of the buildings around them. So you've got to take a lot of care.
And can you give us any indication of when the rescuers go into these buildings to try and get out these people? Obviously a lot of them are going to still be very unstable, so
Yes.
what kind of care has to be taken?
Well, there has to be a lot of care taken, and you know, what we can't do is have individual acts of courage, no matter how well intended, resulting in potentially further loss of lives, because then we have another problem on our hands, and we have to rescue new people. That is why we use the highly trained urban search and rescue people. We've got rescue dogs coming. We've got all sorts of appropriate equipment arriving in the city. And the best way to get through this immediate rescue phase is by using the most skilled people. With the best will in the world, it's actually possible to create a more dangerous situation by enthusiastic volunteers. We will call for volunteers when we need them, and the call that I'm making for volunteers at the moment is volunteers in your community. We have to work at a grassroots basis. Look after yourselves, look after your family, look after your neighbours. Check on the houses in the street where you know there were people living by themselves. Be understanding. We're all frightened. We're all traumatised. None of us know exactly what will happen next. So get together with your neighbours tonight. Share that warmth of human company. Put someone on the sofa in the lounge if you have to. Pull out that spare mattress. But get together and support each other and remain calm. That's the best thing we can do for each other.
Bob, are the police collating a list of missing people?
Yes, the police are pulling that together, and we'll announce the phone number that the police are currently setting up. It has to be a properly measured process, and that phone number I hope we'll be able to announce. Do we have an advance on when we'll have that phone number from anybody? I know Sarah was going to find out for me.
Do you have an idea
another
how
straight
many people
there.
are missing now?
No, we don't know that
Still
at this
talking
stage.
about
You know,
150, 200?
yes, I'm still looking at that sort of area, but the thing that I would stress to you is that I know everybody wants to know numbers, and I know everybody is desperately concerned. And what we are doing is we do not want to create a situation where we either raise false fears or, for that matter, false hopes. We've got to live and act in the reality of this situation. We are in the middle of a major disaster on global terms. We have come through it amazingly well yet again, but the damage sets us back to where we were on September the 4th, and it raises for our residents a lot of new fears and concerns. So we've got the government standing side by side with us. We will have food in the city. There is no need to worry about food. We will have fresh drinking water supplies brought into the city. You need a wee bit of patience around some of those issues, and I know that you would like us to put our efforts where we are putting them tonight, and that is into the rescue.
Bob, we've driven up from Ashburton today, a tremendous amount of people on the roads and filling up the gas stations.
Yes.
Would you recommend that if people could get out of town, they should go?
Look, I think people have to follow their own common sense in this issue. And I think a number of people have friends and family outside of the city. I think that's a good idea. There's no need to panic about that. Those main arterial roads and access ways out of Christchurch are actually fine. But why not? if you have that opportunity, if you're normally working in the central city, I don't think that you're going to be coming back to work in the very near future very quickly. And clearly that's something that the government is right now working with me, working with Civil Defence, working with the city to address. We recognise that the stress and the financial issues and the other things that are in front of us have shifted to a new level now. We are working on what we can do as a city and as a nation to put support in place, and we will definitely in the coming days with the government announce a number of measures that we'll take. So right now, try not to worry about all those other things that normally fill our minds on a day-to-day basis, and the mortgages and the jobs and all of that. I know it is a worry for all of us, but at the same time you've got to realise that you're at the moment fortunate to be alive and well. And that's the greatest gift. We've got other people right now who are caught between it. As we talk at this moment, there are people who are fighting for their lives. And that's where our hearts are, that's where our minds are, that's where our effort is tonight. Now, I've just been handed the police number. This is the helpline for welfare inquiries. And it is 0800 77 99997. So that's the police helpline. 0800 77 99997. That's for welfare inquiries. That means if you're inquiring about family members, reporting missing people, use that number. Okay, now they will be focused on that, but remember, in this sort of issue where you've had casualties of the sort we've had, it will be a while. There are next of kin to be informed, and this process has to be handled in a straightforward but controlled manner, and that's exactly what will be happening overnight. So if you're really worried about somebody, though, they haven't been reported and you haven't heard from them. And I think most of us are in that situation tonight as family members. I'm still waiting to hear about my mum and dad and my son and my grandkids, and I think right across the city, and we're all deeply worried about that. So tonight, and for the next few nights, we have to support each other. We did it on the 4th of September, and I know that you'll do it again, and that's the best advice I can give you at the moment. Stay tight. Okay?
Thanks so much. One more thing is the rain.
The rain's frustrating. I've been speaking to the Defence Forces. Over in Hagley Park now there are 1,500 people. And a large number of them are tourists that have been evacuated from hotels. So it's about getting blankets, it's about getting cots, it's about ensuring we've got additional medical support because some of them are older people. So yeah, we're aware of those issues.
So you've got marquees and things up over
But well,
there.
fortunately, the Ellerslie Flower Show was set up, or the beginnings of it over there, so all of the tents and all of the marquees, or a lot of them, were already erected, and we've been able to basically go straight in there and use that as an emergency accommodation area. So, it obviously is not the best, but once again, those people are grateful to have somewhere to go. But a lot of them are elderly, and the Army is helping us get the blankets.
But in terms of that half dozen rescues, is that going to slow things down?
Slow what down, sorry?
The rescues of the buildings that have collapsed in there, that heavy rain is going to create another factor of...
Well, yes, it does. It adds another complication. But in a couple of issues, it's probably going to help us a little bit, because there is a fire which has proved very hard to extinguish in one of the buildings. So in that case, they were using helicopter and monsoon buckets when I was down there, and maybe the rain will be a help there. But it makes it a harder night for people, for those people who are out of their homes, for those people who have damaged homes, It's just rough. But hey, this is what we have to deal with, and the only way we can deal with it is by being calm and working together. Okay? Now, I just want to let you know too, by the way, we'll have a briefing for you from the Canterbury District Health Board. They're going to come down here and we'll do a briefing. It may be here or in the thing. It's at 10 o'clock tonight.
Right. Could we also talk to you about coming on breakfast tomorrow morning?
Yep. Yes, we can do that.
Can I ring someone that would like to talk to you?
Yeah, if you talk to Sarah, we've got something at 6:30 for TV.
Christchurch Mayor there, Bob Parker, with a plea for Christchurch people to stay calm and stick together. Staying calm in the ideal world, of course, would be exactly what they do.